Breaking news out of England.
What was supposed to be a peaceful birthday night for Princess Anne suddenly became the fuse that ignited a war tearing through the British royal family when King Charles III presented his sister with the red box, along with the title of Supreme Regent. The decision immediately set off an explosive wave of fury from Queen Camilla. From a deeply rooted personal grudge stretching back into the past, to the powerful rise of Princess Anne and her husband, Vice Admiral Timothy Lawrence, Camilla launched a ruthless dirty media campaign aimed at bringing down her sworn rival. Blind jealousy not only sparked a series of fiery confrontations, but also drew in the forceful intervention of Prince William and Tom Parker Bowles, pushing the relationship between King Charles III and Camilla into an abyss of coldness and rejection. What will Princess Anne do to unravel Camilla's backstabbing conspiracy and protect the honor of the family? And what price will Queen Camilla have to pay for her reckless string-pulling once the truth is fully exposed before the king? On August 15, 2026, a private birthday celebration for Princess Anne was held in a warm yet no less dignified atmosphere within the ancient solemn confines of the palace. King Charles III, though, his face clearly showed the exhaustion brought on by the burden of age and prolonged rounds of medical treatment, still forced himself to rise before the entire family. According to recorded insider sources, the king signaled for the royal guards to enter, carrying a dark red leather box. The box, long regarded as a symbol of the highest center of administrative power and the royal family's confidential state papers. Before the eyes of the family members closest to him, King Charles spoke in a calm, measured voice while retaining the full authority of the head of the dynasty. In a landmark declaration, he formally announced an expansion of the Councillors of State Act. Under the new arrangement, the king officially granted Princess Anne direct access to the red box, the authority to approve and sign the nation's highest-level documents, while also bestowing upon his devoted younger sister a title unprecedented in history, Princess Royal Regent. This strategic decision instantly became the trigger that detonated the fury that had been building for so long. According to accounts from the scene, Queen Camilla slammed her glass down hard against the table, producing a piercing crack that tore through the solemn atmosphere. She shot to her feet, her eyes blazing with extreme outrage and indignation. Speaking out directly in the middle of the ceremony, the Queen protested. "I am the Queen. I am the one who stood beside you when you were ill. Why is she the one holding the red box and signing state decrees?" In complete contrast to Camilla's loss of control, Princess Anne maintained a composure that was almost frightening. Without the slightest sign of confusion, she slowly dabbed the corner of her mouth with a napkin, then calmly lifted her eyes and looked straight at the Queen, drowning in rage. "Tonight is my birthday, Camilla, and Charles has given me a duty and not a glittering crown to wear for theatrics. If you would rather stay up all night reading intelligence documents from the red box instead of choosing dresses for parties, I would be more than happy to hand it over." That firm response seemed to push Camilla's frustration to its absolute breaking point. She immediately lunged toward the main table, raising her hand as though to snatch away the newly announced Regency instrument. Sensing the danger of the situation spiraling out of control, Prince William stepped forward at once and positioned himself between the two women, intervening in an exceptionally stern tone. "Stepmother, please show some dignity. This is the king's decision for the stability of the royal family." Prince William's direct intervention did not calm the situation. Instead, it only further provoked Camilla. As she forcefully shoved William's hand away in an attempt to release her pent-up anger, she accidentally struck a nearby glass of red wine. The vivid crimson liquid spilled across the tabletop, quickly soaking into the legal document that had just been issued, forming a dark spreading stain that looked disturbingly like blood. Having witnessed the entire incident, King Charles looked at Camilla with profound disappointment in his eyes. Without uttering a single word of reproach, he quietly clasped the steady hand of his sister Anne, as if making an unmistakable declaration of his absolute trust in her. Reeling and humiliated beneath the gaze of the entire family, Queen Camilla turned and hurried out of the banquet hall. This shocking development, according to analysts, officially marked the beginning of a brutal and turbulent covert war within the British royal family. Was the fury that erupted at the birthday celebration truly caused only by the red box, or were there far deeper, long-standing fractures buried in the past between Queen Camilla and Princess Anne? The recent tensions had in truth reopened a deeply rooted personal feud from the past, one that had existed for decades between two of the most powerful women in the dynasty. According to archival records and historical reports, few people know that Andrew Parker Bowles, Camilla's former husband, was once Princess Anne's first love and former boyfriend, before he ultimately chose to marry Camilla. That complicated and bitterly ironic romantic entanglement from years ago left deep scars, creating a state of outward civility, masking inner resentment that endured for many years. Although both women went on to build separate lives and hold official positions within the royal family, that quiet conflict never truly faded. Now, with King Charles III making the historic decision to grant regency powers to Princess Anne, that old wound has once again been cut open and pushed to its breaking point. Anne's rise to the highest levels of administrative power not only strengthened her personal standing, but according to insider information, it also meant bringing her modest husband, Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence, deeper into the machinery of royal administration and the palace's most important internal decisions. Sir Timothy Lawrence has long been known as a devoted, discreet figure who has consistently provided unwavering support to Princess Anne throughout her royal duties. Now that Princess Anne holds the red box, along with the title of Princess Royal Regent Vice Admiral, Sir Timothy Lawrence's influence within the royal establishment has accordingly increased to a significant degree. It was precisely this reality that struck at the very heart of Queen Camilla's deepest anxiety and resentment. The fact that Princess Anne and her husband were both simultaneously occupying crucial positions, directly participating in matters of national administration and advising the king, made Camilla feel that her own position as queen was under serious threat. Filled with jealousy and suspicion, Camilla was said to have expressed her displeasure on more than one occasion, frequently mocking Princess Anne behind the palace walls. According to sources close to the matter, Camilla once sharply questioned and sarcastically taunted her sister-in-law, "Are the two of you planning to build a shadow empire inside the palace?" To Camilla, the growing presence and power of Princess Anne and her husband resembled a shadow spreading over her own role within the royal court. Unable to accept that supreme authority and the king's absolute trust had fallen entirely into the hands of her sworn rival, Camilla understood that she could no longer simply stand by and watch. The incident of red wine spilling across the decree at the birthday celebration had merely been the opening shot. Immediately afterward, driven by desperation and fear that her position would be completely overshadowed, Queen Camilla decided to cast aside every restraint, diplomatic boundary, and conventional rule of royal conduct. She deliberately began planning another private meeting with Princess Anne, intending to apply direct pressure and force her sister-in-law to voluntarily step aside and relinquish the regency title she had just been granted. The approaching private confrontation between these two women, bound together by so much troubled history, was expected to become yet another earthquake, one in which grievances from the past and ambitions for power in the present would finally collide with no room left for compromise. Will the direct confrontation between Camilla and Anne allow the Queen to turn the tables, or will it only push relations inside the palace even deeper into an endless media war? True to the predictions coming from insider circles, a fiery and extraordinarily bitter argument erupted in private between Queen Camilla and Princess Anne. In a secluded setting, with no one else present, Camilla unleashed all the anger and resentment she had accumulated for so long upon her sister-in-law. She did not hesitate to use every manner of threat while fully exploiting her position as the reigning queen to exert pressure and force Princess Anne to step aside and relinquish the regency title that King Charles had just bestowed upon her. However, in response to Camilla's aggression and relentless attempts to strong-arm her, Princess Anne remained faithful to the iron principles that had become her hallmark over decades of service. With the unwavering demeanor and steely resolve of a veteran member of the royal family, she flatly refused to bow her head, showing neither hesitation nor willingness to yield even a single step in the face of the Queen's threats. Realizing that she had completely failed to intimidate Anne directly and was unable to shake the princess's formidable resolve, Camilla began shifting her tactics towards something more insidious, stabbing her in the back. According to leaked media sources, the Queen quietly used her extensive influence and personal connections to hire and pull the strings behind a host of mainstream media outlets, as well as notorious tabloids. She launched a dirty media campaign designed to expose scandals and smear Anne's public image on a massive scale. Within a short period of time, Princess Anne's name was repeatedly splashed across front pages and news reports, alongside countless malicious rumors carefully manufactured and systematically crafted. More specifically, the press began scrutinizing every minor detail of her past, focusing on embellishing and digging up old accusations intended to smear Princess Anne's rigid personality, portraying her as cold and authoritarian toward the staff serving inside the palace. The articles deliberately depicted her as a harsh ruler, lacking compassion and constantly placing pressure on her subordinates. Nor did the smear campaign stop there. It continued by turning its sights on her finances and her family. A flood of suspicious articles began appearing across newspapers, questioning the transparency surrounding the use of public funds. Under the manipulation of shadowy forces, the media repeatedly zeroed in on allegations that Anne and her husband had exploited public funds to finance private working trips, and Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence's personal activities, with the aim of turning him into the focal point of public jealousy and criticism. The climax of this dirty media campaign came when the tabloids began digging up Princess Anne's past marital scandals. They deliberately branded her with the negative label of a manipulator, planting an entirely distorted view of her devotion in the minds of the public. The articles brazenly alleged that her tireless attendance at nearly 500 royal engagements every year was in reality nothing more than a carefully staged performance. According to these defamatory claims, her 5 decades of devotion had served only to conceal an enormous hunger for power, to seize control of the supreme red box, and gradually strip King Charles III of his governing influence, while the monarch was recuperating from illness and concentrating on medical treatment. This media campaign pushed Princess Anne's public image into an unprecedented crisis. Faced with Camilla's ruthless backstabbing attacks and large-scale smear campaign, will Princess Anne choose to suffer in silence, or will she deliver a hard-hitting counterstrike to defend her honor? The relentless and ruthless media attacks continuously splashed across the newspapers did absolutely nothing to break Princess Anne or make her waver. As someone who had weathered countless storms within the royal family and had grown all too familiar with the intrigues of court life, Anne showed no sign of panic, nor did she rush to issue corrections through the press. Instead, drawing on the mindset of a seasoned royal figure and her unyielding resolve, Princess Anne immediately had people quietly investigate the origins of the dirty articles and the social media accounts that had been continuously leaking toxic information. With her characteristic sharpness and her extensive reliable information network, both inside and outside the palace, Anne quickly set the verification process in motion with extraordinary professionalism. Within a short period of time, she had gathered complete trails of secret financial transactions, message histories, detailed call logs, and a series of undeniable pieces of evidence. Every one of these investigative documents pointed directly to Queen Camilla herself as the person pulling the strings, financing and directly controlling the entire smear campaign targeting Anne and her husband. However, rather than waste time trading accusations or lower herself by arguing directly with Camilla, Princess Anne chose a firm and principled course of action. She personally brought the entire clearly analyzed dossier of evidence to King Charles III in his private study. In the quiet surroundings of the palace, Anne gently placed the thick stack of documents on the table in front of her brother, and spoke with a calm demeanor that nevertheless carried tremendous weight. "Brother Charles, I have not come here to cry or perform some royal drama. I have come to give you the truth about what has been happening behind your back while you have had to focus on treating your illness." King Charles III, his face weary from prolonged medical treatment, frowned as he opened the dossier. As page after page containing detailed records of financial transactions, internal phone numbers, and lists of tabloid editors directly connected to the Queen's office appeared before him, the king's expression shifted from astonishment to shock. Seeing undeniable evidence of such ruthless betrayal of the family by the wife he had always loved and trusted, King Charles was consumed with fury. His health, already weakened by illness, only made the pain, anguish, and crushing disappointment even more severe. His hand trembled as he struggled to contain the resentment building inside him. Seeing her brother's pain, Princess Anne spoke in a calm but direct voice, continuing to make her position clear. "I do not care about the lies the media fabricate about me or Timothy. For the past 50 years, I have worked for this dynasty, not for a few lines of mockery in the tabloids, but for a senior member of this family to use money and influence to undermine the stability of the royal family while you are recovering from illness is unacceptable. You need to deal with this transparently, Charles." King Charles III let out a bitter sigh. He looked up at his sister, his eyes filled with regret and bitterness. The king spoke in a hoarse voice, yet one filled with the determination of a monarch. "Thank you, Anne. You have always been the strongest and most loyal person to me and to this dynasty. I am truly sorry for the harm that you and Timothy have had to endure over these past few days. I promise you this will stop immediately. I will never tolerate any act of betrayal taking place under our own roof." Immediately after Princess Anne excused herself and left, the king's patience had completely reached its limit. Unable to remain silent any longer or turn a blind eye to such serious wrongdoing, the king immediately ordered his aides to summon Queen Camilla to his study, so that he could question her and make everything clear before him. Faced with the massive dossier of evidence and King Charles's unprecedented fury, will Queen Camilla try to deny her guilt? Or will she be forced to confess to her entire conspiracy? Entering the king's private study with an initially somewhat cautious demeanor, Queen Camilla immediately froze when she saw the thick dossier packed with transaction records and call logs laid openly across the desk. Faced with the unmistakable, undeniable evidence that Princess Anne had gathered and placed before King Charles III, any attempt by Camilla to deny the accusations or justify herself became completely useless. The presence of Prince William, who had witnessed the entire affair from the beginning, along with the arrival of Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's son, who had been invited to witness the seriousness and impartiality of the proceedings, made the atmosphere even more suffocating. Overwhelmed by desperation, humiliation, and profound bitterness, Camilla could no longer maintain her usual composure. She formally admitted to the full extent of her actions in manipulating the media to smear her sister-in-law. Suddenly, Camilla burst into tears and cried out, releasing years of pent-up anger and jealousy. "Yes, I did it. I couldn't endure another second of it. Why is it always Anne? I'm jealous of her, Charles. I'm jealous because Anne always receives absolute respect from the public, thanks to this image of being the hardest-working royal that she has spent years carefully building. I'm jealous because she has a smooth, private, peaceful marriage with Timothy that the press never scrutinizes or tears apart the way they do mine. And above all, what hurts me the most is my jealousy of you because you gave your sister your absolute trust. You were willing to give Anne real power through the Red Box to give her supreme regency authority. The kind of genuine governing power that a reigning queen like me has never possessed and will never be able to reach." Witnessing his mother's uncontrollable outburst, Tom Parker Bowles stepped forward, his expression darkening with sorrow, though he could find no justification for such serious wrongdoing. Tom spoke in an extraordinarily saddened voice. "Mother, please stop. You're hurting everyone and you're hurting yourself. I understand the invisible pressures you've had to carry ever since you entered this family all those years ago. But for you to resort to dirty media tactics, to attack Aunt Anne and Uncle Timothy, while His Majesty is struggling with illness, is completely wrong. You've gone too far, Mother. You cannot use jealousy to justify actions that undermine the stability of this family like this." Prince William immediately stepped forward, his gaze unwavering and his voice carrying the stern authority of the heir to the throne. William looked directly at Camilla and intervened with cutting firmness.
Stepmother, what you have just admitted has crossed every boundary of the dignity of the royal family. Aunt Anne has devoted her entire life to this dynasty with more than 50 years of tireless service. The trust my father places in her is not baseless favoritism. It was built upon absolute loyalty and an unwavering sense of responsibility. You are jealous of the title and the red box, but you have forgotten that what Aunt Anne received came through quiet service, not through fighting for power or using media tricks to bring others down. Your actions have not only insulted Aunt Anne, but have also directly threatened the reputation and stability of the reign my father is working so hard to preserve.
Looking at the wife he had once loved and with whom he had overcome so many storms to finally be together, only to see her now blinded, bitter, and calculating enough to stab his own family in the back, King Charles III felt overwhelmed by sadness, pain, and bitterness. His eyes were heavy with profound disappointment. Rising from his chair, the king spoke in a low, cold voice that nevertheless carried absolute resolve. Camilla, I once believed that after everything we had been through together, you would be the person who understood me best and shared my burdens most deeply during these difficult years. But I was wrong. Jealousy has blinded both your eyes and your heart. Your attack on Anne, the sister who has carried the weight of this dynasty with complete devotion, is a betrayal of the trust I placed in you. I do not want to see your face again during this time.
Immediately after the confrontation, King Charles III decided to keep his distance, choosing to live entirely apart from Camilla for a period of time in order to regain peace of mind and focus on restoring his health. This cold decision by the
king pushed the queen's position into a state of complete isolation within the palace.
Meanwhile, Princess Anne's role and reputation remained entirely unaffected by the turmoil that had just unfolded. With her unwavering resilience, she continued to firmly retain her prestigious titles, direct access to the Red Box, and diligently carry out the duties of the Supreme Regency exactly in accordance with the position and absolute trust the king had entrusted to her. Cast aside by the king and pushed away from the very center of power, how will Queen Camilla face the lonely and humiliating days awaiting her behind the palace walls?
After the storm of upheaval finally subsided, Queen Camilla fell into a state of anguish, relentless inner torment, and profound loneliness. Every ambition and covert campaign she had pursued to bring down her rival had completely collapsed, bringing with it devastating consequences for her personal standing. According to sources close to the royal court, Camilla was completely shut out of closed-door meetings and the palace's most important decisions concerning the governance of the nation. She was forced to endure the absolute coldness of her husband, King Charles III, who had chosen to avoid her and maintain complete distance after the damage she had caused. And it did not end there. Every time Camilla appeared or moved through the shared spaces of the royal household, she was confronted by contemptuous mocking and distant looks from other members of the royal family. This systematic isolation pushed her into a dark corner, unlike anything she had ever experienced before.
Each passing day now became a prolonged and bitter humiliation for Camilla. Her greatest pain lay not only in losing the king's trust, but also in being forced to watch everything she had once yearned for shining brightly right before her eyes. She had to bitterly endure her days quietly watching Princess Anne and Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence live together in happiness, harmony, and peace. The quiet, understated yet extraordinarily solid bond between her sister-in-law and her husband became like a mirror, reflecting the complete failure of Camilla's own personal calculations. In complete contrast to the Queen's lonely existence, Princess Anne's governing career and public reputation continued to soar dramatically, reaching new heights in the history of the modern royal family. With the title of Princess Royal Regent and direct access to the Supreme Red Box, Princess Anne continued to carry out her national duties with diligence and excellence. She received absolute respect from the government's senior politicians and broad sections of the public. Across mainstream newspapers and political analysis forums alike, she was solemnly praised as the steadfast backbone of the royal family, the person carrying the dynasty through its most turbulent and challenging periods. At the same time, Buckingham Palace's official media channels continuously released positive reports, images of Princess Anne working tirelessly and devotedly, along with glowing praise for her service. Every event she attended, every document she approved and signed in her capacity as regent, became a symbol of the stability, continuity, and dignity of the British monarchy. The overwhelming support Anne received from both the public and the political establishment only made the failure of the smear campaign Camilla had previously orchestrated stand out even more starkly. Now, as the curtain officially fell on the covert struggle for power, the contrast between the two most powerful women in the family had become clearer than ever before. In complete opposition to the brilliant aura, dignity, and radiant glory surrounding her sister-in-law, Camilla was now reduced to a queen in name only. She was forced to accept spending her remaining days in the lonely darkness of jealousy, under the weight of the king's disappointment and the unrelenting inner torment created by her own mistakes.
The harsh sentence imposed by jealousy had brought the palace power struggle to an end, leaving behind a profound lesson about the value of loyalty and the spirit of genuine service. How do you feel about Queen Camilla's actions, as well as Princess Anne's unwavering resolve throughout this struggle for power? In your opinion, what deeper meaning or lesson does the story above offer about the value of loyalty, jealousy, and the spirit of genuine service? Before you go, we'd just like to say thank you. Every story you watch here is the result of hours of research and careful storytelling. If you enjoyed today's video, we'd truly appreciate your like and subscription. We know it takes a few extra seconds on a TV remote, but your support helps us keep creating even more thoughtful, high-quality stories.